Welcome to vlog number 11. In this vlog, I'm going to be discussing chapters 2 of Reading Pop Culture and chapter 10 of the Rhetorical Act. I'm going to start off by talking about chapter 2 of Reading Pop Culture, and it talks about where do we discover ourselves in pop culture. So the first section of this chapter is an argument for being a poser by Liz Armstrong. So in this passage, it talks about being starting to pose as you start getting older and how there's nothing wrong with it. You're just being yourself. Some people don't like posing, but I think being a poser is not anything bad because you're just posing just like you would pose for a picture. So there's nothing wrong with posing. It's just a way of expressing yourself. And moving on to another passage, it's called "The N-Word is Flourishing Among Generations. Hip Hop Latinos, Why Should We Care Now?" Written by Raquel Cepeda. So in this passage, it's basically talking about the N-word, which is nigga in this passage. And it's saying how it's like starting to be used more amongst Latinos instead of African Americans, as it originally was used by African Americans when they were slaves. That's the word they were being called. So it's kind of a bad word to be called and making fun of the word because it's coming from bad points in history. So in the passage, it says that you can hear when people are screaming it across the street like if it was nothing bad, even though it is. Or I personally think that it's something that you shouldn't be saying. So in the Hispanic community, they talk about how they say it to each other, and also they say it to other people who they don't know, which is not okay at all because they can get mad and they have a reason to get mad. So I'm gonna move on to another section of the chapter, which is called "The End of White America," written by Hua Jesu. So in this passage, it's about the civilizations going into pieces. Basically, nowadays you see a lot of white people have babies with black people, Indians, Mexicans, any other races. They have babies with other races. Sorry. And that's why they're saying that it's going to be the end of white America, because there's not really a lot of white people as much as there was before, especially since there's so many cultures in the United States. They're kind of mixed in with the other races that are in here. I'm gonna read a part from the passage. It says, "I think white people feel like they're under siege right now. It's not okay to be right now, especially if you're a white male," laughs Bill Imada of the IW group. So it's nowadays white people are seen as racist, even though it's not true for everyone. And I don't think it's okay for people to be saying that, because not all white people are racist. But that's why the passage is saying that they wish they weren't white anymore at this time, because of what I just said. So now I'm going to move on to The Sports Taboo by Malcolm Gladwell. In this passage, it's talking about the sports being compared from race to race. So basically saying that if you're black and you're playing football, you should be a quarterback. No, whites should be the quarterback and blacks play running back. So that's just a stereotype, I guess, because it's not true. Blacks can be either or. That's also whites can be either or. So in sports, it doesn't really matter the race you are. It doesn't mean just because you're white you're going to be good at this certain sport, and just because you're black you're not going to be good at it. That's not true, because I have seen many people succeed in both, in all the sports being one certain race, and they say that you can't do it. I'm going to move on to the Rhetorical Act of chapter 10, and it talks about opportunities and the challenge is arising from the rector. So in this part, it's talking about the rhetor, which is basically like a way of like persuading people and like believing what you're saying is true. So one of these is ethos, which is credibility, and you build ethos by looking credible. Like in the beginning, when you start, if you're like dressed a certain way and you're like wearing a, like at least if you're a male, you're wearing a bow tie with glasses, you're like well dressed, it's kind of, you're gonna give more credibility that you know what you're saying than if you're not dressed up at all. So this really has a lot to do with persuading, because if you persuade the people, then they're gonna pay attention to what you said, and it's not gonna be a waste of words for them. Your introduction has a lot to do with it, because the introduction is basically what grabs the people's attention to keep watching what you're talking about. Thank you.